Hello, I'm Jill Scharfman, and this is a mini episode of Let My People Eat, where I share a personal story, a parable, or a bit of Jewish history from which we can all learn something. Rabbi Yecheskel Sarna, who lived from 1890 to 1969, was at a bris in Israel, where there were many important Torah giants from around the world. The Chafetz Chaim was there, the Vizhnitzer and Gerer Rebbes were there as well. And this was the speech that Rabbi Sarna made. Everyone in this room believes that his grandfather did the most for Klal Yisrael in the last 100 years. The Chafetz Chaim, the Alter of Slobodka, all had many Talmidim and established prominent yeshivas. So did the great Rebbes of Vizhnitz and Ger. And I'm here to tell you that it's none of them. I'll tell you more. The one who did the most for Klal Yisrael in the last 100 years never learned a blot of Gemara. The audience was spellbound. I'll tell you even more. When I mention the name of this person, you will all agree with me that this individual did the most for the Jewish people in the last 100 years. Her name is Sarah Schenirer. Everyone in the room smiled and agreed. Frau Sarah Schenirer was the legendary founder of the Beis Yaakov movement, which normalized Jewish education for girls. A seamstress from Krakow, she observed how many Jewish girls were no longer interested in preserving their heritage, being lured by the magnetic pull of the secular revolution. With the support and blessing of great Torah leaders, including the Chafetz Chaim and the Gerer Rebbe, she created a network of schools to educate young Jewish women. Those schools inculcated their students with Torah values and appreciation of those who study Torah and motivated them to teach others what they learned. Without her efforts, it would have been impossible for the Jewish nation to survive. Therefore, she did the most for the Jewish people in the last century. Now, what inspired Sarah Schenirer to start the Beis Yaakov movement, changing the course of Jewish education and Jewish history? It was a single speech that she heard. She was at the synagogue of Rabbi Moshe Fleisch, and he was a follower of Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch. The rabbi addressed the congregation and spoke about the challenges and heroism of the Maccabees. He also related the story of Judith and its lesson regarding how much a Jewish woman can accomplish. Something stirred within Sarah Schneer's heart as she listened, enthralled to his gripping words. If only she could magnify his voice and deliver his message to all the Jewish women in the world, how could they ignore its appeal? Now, what I found interesting, that the story that inspired Sarah Schenirer to start Beis Yaakov went back to the time of Nebuchadnezzar's war. The Persians had besieged the hilltop town where Judith lives. Now, Judith was a beautiful and respected, wealthy widow, and she had a secret plan how to stop the advancement of the army. And she began to put into action. She groomed herself so that she was alluringly beautiful and left the city at night. She met Holofernes, who was a general. He was just obsessed with her beauty, and he planned to seduce her. But once he was drunk, she turned the tables on him, and she killed him by hacking off his head. She then took the head back to her town and hung it on the town wall. Once the enemy saw this, they turned the other way, and Judith had saved the Jewish people. Now, this is not exactly the story you think that would have inspired Beis Yaakov, but in fact, it did. You can find these and other stories in great Jewish speeches by Rabbi Moshe Bamberger, which is part of the Art Scroll series. You can find it at www.artscroll.com. I am Jill Scharfman, and I hope this makes your day a little more satisfying.